What's up, everybody? It's Gabe from Ceramic Pro Pottstown. We're back in the shop today with this really awesome project. I wanted to just take a few minutes and show it to you and walk you through what we're gonna be working on and some things to look for when taking on big projects like this. This is a 1965 ERA slab side Cobra. This thing looks fantastic. It is a kit car. Client has put this car himself. He did all of the assembly, all the engine work, all of the trim. The only thing that the client didn't do was paint it and make the body itself. This is a full fiberglass body on an aluminum reinforced chassis. I don't know whether it's steel or aluminum. We'll figure that out later. It's been custom painted. This is a custom BMW color that the client selected, believe it or not. Something very, very specific. We're gonna be doing our full body Kavacha paint protection film. So we're gonna cover the whole thing in PPF. And then we're gonna install our Ceramic Pro Ultimate Ion lifetime warranty ceramic coating. And then we're gonna coat everything in the interior as well, since it is a convertible top and it's gonna be outside, nice weather, full sun only. So we're gonna protect the entire interior. This is an extremely difficult vehicle to do full body PPF on. There are several reasons why this is difficult. Number one is the shape. There are no patterns for this in any software. That means the installer is gonna need to be top of his game and he's gonna need to be comfortable doing bulk installs. This is not a car that you wanna take to somebody who's only doing plotter cut installs, because I can guarantee you this isn't in any software that's available. The second thing, this is an extremely difficult body layout. There are curves and long body lines everywhere across the car. You see it's got long sweeping valleys, long curves that stretch all the way down the body. In addition, the body all the way around, bumper, fenders, rocker, rear quarter, rear deck, rear bumper, and all the way around is one piece of fiberglass. One piece. That means this car cannot be done in one piece of film without seams. There will absolutely be seams. You cannot do a car like this without it, without introducing tons and tons of tension where the film is gonna lift back and you're gonna have problems. And the third and biggest, this is not OEM paint. So who paints the car will very much make a difference in how the car is able to be covered in film. If a low quality shop that gave it bare minimum effort in terms of prep did the paint work, you can pretty well guess that the first time the PPF is tugged on, it's gonna lift off the car. And that means you're calling Mr. Customer, hey, it's gonna be about 90 days before you get your car back. The paint lifted off. Okay, thanks, bye. Needless to say, your customer's probably gonna be really upset. Aftermarket paint has a significantly higher risk for lifting, which is why it's important that if you have a custom job like this, you choose the right shop to do your paint and body, and you choose the right shop to protect that paint. Because if you don't, and they need to take multiple attempts at doing the car, they need to lift that film off after it's been set, the risk for pulling the clear and base coat off the car is through the roof. So this is definitely one of those cars where you need to work with a shop that's gonna be able to one shot or lay that film on and get it right the first time, or as close to the first time as possible. This is not a multi-shot car. This is a one shot, one kill type of install. So let's look around the car and we'll show you some of the issues. So you can see here, the front of the car here has super aggressive turns and dips in the body around the headlights. It's all one piece and it's all together, all underneath. So that means there are gonna be seams up here. However, the right shop doing the install, these seams should be completely invisible. You're probably looking at a seam right along through here, maybe even through here as well. But in general, you're gonna have a seam up here on the front of this. But we've got permission from this customer. He wants us to go the extra mile. So we're gonna pull these housings out for the headlights. We're gonna pull this floating front bumper guard here as well. This is gonna come out. We're gonna remove these signal marker style round lights down here on the bottom. These are gonna come out. So we're gonna remove as many of these things as possible, so that way we have the most surface area to be able to stretch and pull the film so that it takes the correct shape. If this stuff is in the way, when we go and do this install and we go to stretch it, we're gonna end up with tension in the wrong place, and we're gonna end up with fingers in the film where it's rumpled up on top of itself. We're gonna end up with that kind of thing in the wrong place. So we want to go the extra mile and get this stuff off the car, so that way we can go at it in as precise a manner as possible. So this is, it's a carbureted 289 Ford Racing crate motor here. This thing is a monster. And you can see all of this is custom, every bit of it. We're also gonna ceramic coat underneath the hood. We're not gonna be removing the hood because of the difficulty regarding the alignment. So we're gonna be keeping the hood on the car. But we're not gonna be doing a ton of work in here because of how custom this is and how this is meant to be a dry and fair weather car. All right, so we're gonna close this. But as we move down the car, you'll notice that this whole front clip, including the windshield and the dash area underneath of it, again, all the same piece of fiberglass. So if we come down here and look down the side of the car here, the whole front end again, all one piece, all the way up to this rear fender, all the way down to the back of the car. So with the whole body being one piece, we're gonna take a huge 60-inch piece of film and stretch it across the whole car to get as much coverage with that same piece of film as possible. The goal being seams only where they need to be instead of seams where they're convenient. That's the difference between the shop that's gonna go the extra mile and the shop that's gonna give you just the bare minimum effort required. So as we come around the back of the car, we have these unique single thread studs here that the canvas top attaches to. These are threaded directly into the fiberglass. The threads are super small, so they can't be over torqued. We're gonna very carefully remove these, because again, this whole thing is gonna be one piece of film. We're probably gonna end up with a seam right here and a seam right here as well. So let's take a look at the back end of the car and then we'll really show you where it gets tricky. Looking at the back of the car here, you'd say this looks easy, right? There's not a ton of curves. The problem is that we need to apply tension both lengthwise on the car and across the car with the film. So we're gonna end up with tons of tension back here with nowhere to stick it to, and we're gonna need to be able to trim this hood out and make sure the film sticks on this whole area here without ending up with fingers this way. So we're gonna end up with a seam here and here. We're also gonna do this trunk lid in one piece as well. This is also a huge panel, and it's gonna be a three-way stretch. We're gonna stretch this way, we're gonna stretch lengthwise, and then we're gonna stretch diagonally across it as well because it has a little bit of a curve. And again, we're gonna remove these taillight bezels, we're gonna remove this rear bumper, these bumper studs here. This is gonna come out. The hardware here for the hood and the latch on the rear trunk lid's gonna come out. So we're gonna pull all of this random hardware off so that way we can, again, get as clean and seam and edge free of an install as possible. This is a really involved project. This is not one that you want to take to a new shop. You need somebody that's been doing film quite a while to do this. Because I promise you, if you take this to a newer installer shop, you're either getting the car repainted or the film is gonna look like absolute trash. And then you're not gonna be happy. And then the shop you took it to is gonna be really upset that they took on this job and they're in over their head. So do your research. Pick the shop that's gonna go the extra mile for you. On a job like this, disassembly, absolutely a necessity. We try and disassemble cars as little as possible, but this is one of those jobs, you have to do it just to get and keep that clean aesthetic client spent so much time and effort on in building the car in the first place. Pick the right shop, the one that's gonna go the extra mile and do that extra work to get it right. Pick a shop that has the experience. Newer shops are not gonna be able to do this. You need to ask how long their installers have been installing film. And the biggest and most important, you're gonna need a shop that's gonna be able to take their time. This is not a job that you rush. This is a job when this gets dropped off, when I talk to the client, I say, you're gonna have to leave it with us and I'm gonna call you when it's done. This is not one of these jobs that's in and out in 2 days. Make sure you do your research. You look at reviews. Make sure they take enough time to talk to you and explain these services to you so that you understand what you're gonna be getting. This is a job that can range upward of $15,000 to $20,000, depending upon the shop you choose. Be wary of a shop that tells you, oh yeah, this is only gonna be $8,000 or $9,000. Let me tell you, that shop's making $0 after they factor in time, labor, and film. This is not an easy one. This is not a cheap in and out. Spend the time to do it right and doing it with the right shop. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If you have another project that you'd like to get worked on, or you have a vehicle that you're just getting out of paint and you wanna keep it protected, check us out online, totaldetailingpa.com.